So today, we're going to dive into a story that is, well, it's a wild ride. It starts with the very real problem of flooding in the Himalayas, but it ends up with a proposal for a new theory of everything. It connects civil engineering to ancient philosophy and even fundamental physics. So how in the world do you get from a flooding river to the fabric of the cosmos? Let's get into it. Right off the bat, the source material does not mess around. It throws you right in with this really dire warning. We're not just talking about a local weather problem. The idea here is that this flood crisis is a symptom of something much bigger, a massive geological instability, with the threat of a truly catastrophic megaquake hanging over the whole region. Okay, so before we can get to the grand cosmic vision, we've got to understand the problem on the ground. Let's zoom in on the specific region that's right at the heart of this crisis. So the epicenter of all this is the Ghaggar-Hakra River basin, specifically in the Patiala District of Punjab, India. Every year, during the monsoon season, this river just turns into a source of incredible destruction. And it doesn't just affect Punjab, but neighboring states too. And this is not some abstract, faraway problem. The source really grounds it in this harrowing personal experience. This quote from someone who lived through the 1993 floods, it paints this terrifying picture of a city just on the brink of collapse, totally cut off, where people genuinely thought they were facing their last moments. It makes the stakes feel incredibly real. So when you're faced with a life-or-death situation like that, what's the solution? The research here puts forward a really practical three-part plan that it calls the Trinity Water Solution. Let's take a look at how it's supposed to work. The core idea is actually pretty simple. Stop looking at all these water systems as separate things. Instead, the proposal says you need to manage them as one single integrated system. So if you coordinate the water from the Brocker Canal, treat the flows of the main river, and then tie in the city's own drainage systems, you could, in theory, balance everything out to prevent floods. But it's not just about pipes and canals and engineering, you know? It's also about ecology. The plan actually brings seasonal farming into the picture, right alongside the river streams, trying to create this holistic system where agriculture and water management actually work together. Okay, and here is where the story starts to zoom out, way out. This local flood plan for Punjab, it turns out it isn't some new, one-off idea. It's actually being presented as just one piece of a much, much larger global vision that the author has been working on for decades. And get this, we're talking as far back as 1989. The same core ideas about managing water were being sent to governments all over the world. The same principles for linking rivers were proposed for other parts of India, for regions in Australia, and proposals were even sent to the White House here in the US. The suggestion is that these are universal ideas. And then the vision takes another huge leap. It connects something as practical as water management to these really big concepts, like developing global education courses on green energy through organizations like the World Intellectual Property Organization, or WIPO. The goal seems to be to train a whole new generation on how to handle these kinds of crises. And this is the million-dollar question, right? You're probably thinking, hold on, we went from a river in Punjab to global education, but physics, ancient knowledge, a theory of everything, it seems like a massive, massive jump. So how is that connection made? Well, the answer seems to lie in this foundational philosophy that holds all of these different proposals together. It's a framework that's designed to bridge all these seemingly separate fields of knowledge into one single cohesive system. At the very heart of this is a concept called Philselfology. Now, as you can see, it's a method that says you have to apply philosophy, psychology, and science together to any single problem. Basically, it's a rule against tunnel vision. You can't just look at a problem from one angle. You have to see it through all three lenses to really get it. So what on earth could possibly connect those three fields? According to this theory, the bridge is cymatics, which is the study of visible sound and vibration. The idea here is that everything vibrates, and those vibrations create visible patterns. The theory argues that these patterns are like a fundamental language of the universe that we can see with science, feel with psychology, and think about with philosophy. And the foundation for all of this comes from what the author calls the Ghaggar-Hakra theory. This is described as a system from Sikh tradition that's about 550 years old. The claim is that it's a kind of ancient science, like a decoder ring for reality, that links the letters of an alphabet to fundamental elements and even musical notes. And this entire worldview gets distilled down into this one simple, kind of elegant equation. E equals O plus I sound. This is presented as a way to unite Eastern and Western ideas about energy. Energy is energy, and it's a combination of light, which is huge in Western science, and vibration, or sound, which is absolutely central to many Eastern traditions. So with that framework in place, the source then uses these principles to tackle some of the biggest questions in science. And the scope of what's being claimed here is, well, it's vast. I mean, the applications that this theory claims to have are just incredibly ambitious. The source material outlines how this one single framework can be used to propose new models for DNA in higher dimensions, offer explanations for the mysterious fifth force in physics, and even suggest solutions for pandemics from HIV to COVID-19. It really is being presented as a theory of everything. And the development of all this work is laid out on this personal and kind of prophetic timeline. It starts with those first proposals back in the late 80s, moves through a prophesied loss of research in the mid-90s, and then patents being filed in the 2010s. And it all leads up to this prediction, that the years 2023 to 2025 will be the start of a whole new era of science and peace for humanity. And this all points to the ultimate vision. It's not just about science, it's about a spiritual and humanitarian transformation. And it's all captured in this prophecy, from the source, this vision of a future where science actually connects with the sacred, and all of humanity unites under white flags of peace to work together. Which leaves us with this one final, really powerful question. We literally journeyed from the floodwaters of a single river all the way to the center of the universe. So whether you see this as a practical plan or a grand unifying theory, the source forces you to wonder, could the solutions to our biggest cosmic mysteries be hidden inside the answers to our most immediate local problems?